Your brain is lying to you right now. That voice telling you, I'm not good enough or I can't do this, is not speaking the truth. It's your brain defaulting to familiar neural pathways that require less energy. Imagine these thoughts like worn footprints through the forest. The more you've walked them, the deeper and easier they become to follow, right? For years, I kept stumbling on down the same self-doubt trails, never realizing I could forge completely new routes. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Hey, my friends, it's Jay with Life Next Level. And today I'm sharing an 8-step process I use to tear down those limiting mental highways and build new ones that actually take me where I want to go. Stay with me as we break down how to reconstruct these pathways step by step. But first, let's discuss the science of your stubborn brain. Did you know your brain is actually wired to reject new ideas? Completely reject them. It's true. I'm sure you know what I'm saying. Let me explain to you exactly why that happens. Which, when I heard that, I was shocked. And let's be honest, it sucks because that's what we want. That's what we all strive for, right? Is happiness, growth, all of that stuff. It's designed for one thing and one thing only: survival. That's why when you try to change a belief you've held for years, your brain literally interprets it as a threat. It's not being difficult on purpose, though. It's trying to keep you safe in the only way that it knows how. We've evolutionized far beyond where our brains still are. Our brains are still cavemen, and they're just trying to survive. And all these new things that have come up so recent are triggers for your brain to trigger that survival mechanism. And this is exactly why that limiting belief you've had since childhood feels so incredibly real. Every time you've thought, I'm not good enough or I can't do this, your brain has been strengthening that neural pathway, turning what started as a simple thought into something that feels like absolute truth. Think about it. If you've been reinforcing the same thought pattern for 20 or more years, no wonder it feels almost impossible to change. Or you don't even realize that it's a limiting belief, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And here's something fascinating, though, about your brain's defense system. When you encounter new evidence that contradicts what you already believe, your amygdala, which is essentially your brain's alarm system, it actually activates it. So it puts you in a mild state of fight or flight response. Your body is literally preparing to defend itself against whatever it may defend itself, whatever it may have to defend itself against, which in this instance is simply a new idea. So on top of that, your brain is an energy hog. It uses up to 20% of your body's total energy, despite only weighing about 2% in total of your body weight. So to manage this massive energy consumption, your brain creates shortcuts through familiar thinking patterns. It's basically trying to be efficient, even when those mental shortcuts hurt you in the long run. I like to explain it like this. Your thoughts are like water flowing down a hillside. I know you all have seen this. Over time, they carve these really deeper and deeper grooves into the landscape, and the water just follows those, and it keeps getting deeper and deeper. And the longer that water flows in that same direction down that same path, the deeper it gets and the harder it becomes to find a new path. That's exactly what's happening in your brain when you try to change an old habit or belief. So to add to that, your brain has another quirky preference. It actually prioritizes familiarity over truth. It would rather stick with a comfortable lie, something it knows and understands, than to adapt to an uncomfortable truth that requires to create a new neural pathway. This is why sometimes we cling to these beliefs even when we have clear evidence that they're not serving us and that they are not true. But here's the good news. There's always some good news, and it's huge. This same biological system that keeps you stuck can be rewired to work for you instead of against you. That the very neuroplasticity that strengthened those negative beliefs in the first place can be harnessed to create positive ones instead. So to answer the question, why does your brain resist change, even when you know change could be good for you? It's because it's programmed to conserve energy and avoid perceived threats, not to help you reach your full potential. Your brain is focused on surviving and not thriving. Very unfortunate for us. But again, we can change that. It'll take a little work, but it can be done. So it's time for the 8-step path to rewiring your brain. So we just established how and why your brain prioritizes survival over success. But that does not mean you're permanently stuck with these limiting beliefs. Have you ever tried positive affirmations only to find yourself back in the same negative thought patterns days later? There's a reason for that. And it's not because of lack of willpower or lack of determination. And it's not because positive affirmations are a bad thing. I use them daily. I love them. But the truth is, you can't simply paste positive thoughts over deeply rooted neural pathways like those water canals. Just like renovating a house, you need to inspect the foundation and build a good foundation before building something new on top of it. It's this 8-step process that really works with your brain's natural tendencies instead of fighting against them, and builds this foundation for you to have these positive affirmations. So this approach does not just temporarily boost your mood. It actually changes your brain's physical structure. And here's where most people go wrong. They jump straight to the positive thinking and the positive affirmations without laying this groundwork, this proper groundwork first, to lay the groundwork for success. And that's exactly why they say stay stuck. So step 1, it's all about understanding your current neural patterns. As with all personal growth stuff, it's all about the fundamental understanding and acknowledgement of it, and you recognizing it. It's self-awareness at the beginning of almost everything. And that starts to lay the foundation, the ground. It's paying close attention to what pops up and what automatically pops up into your mind throughout the day, in your thoughts. It may serve you well to have like a notebook or a journal here to write down these thought patterns. I think having a journal through this whole exercise, I think having a journal or a notebook through almost any personal growth exercise is really positive and really helps you out. Writing just triggers something in your brain, helps you remember stuff too. But anyway, getting back to this. So like as you're writing this down or thinking through it or becoming a detective of your own thoughts, when did these thoughts surface? What triggers these thoughts? This self-awareness can really form the foundation for everything that follows. All right, so step 2, you're going to identify your specific limiting beliefs. So once you start to recognize them, it's time to identify what these beliefs are. So maybe you think, I'm not creative enough to start my own business, or I always mess up important relationships. Getting specific is very crucial here. And sometimes it's really hard to say that to yourself. It's hard to find them and then say, this is my limiting belief. Oh my God, it's kind of crazy to actually say it out loud or write it down. But getting specific is crucial. Vague awareness just won't lead to much change. Step 3, this involves creating awareness triggers. So practical cues that help you notice when you're falling into the old thought patterns. Could be setting a phone reminder, placing a rubber band on your wrist, strategically positioning visual cues around your house, in your environment, but these triggers really act as mental alarm systems, and they alert you when beliefs are taking control or when they could take control given the situation or area that you're in. So this is kind of all foundational, gets you really ready to start to build on it. And then step 4, this is where the foundational steps of step 1 through 3 really start to come into play and where the real transformation begins. Pattern interruption. I love pattern interruption. When you catch yourself in a negative thought loop, you physically or mentally disrupt it. So now that you've kind of acknowledged it, you're self-aware of some of these. Now, as soon as you acknowledge it, you disrupt it. And stand up right away and have a different thought. Clap your hands, do something noisy. Try the Taser method. We'll talk about this a little bit later too. Tune in, acknowledge, shift, express, repeat. We'll go into depth in that a little bit, but the Taser method is very good. This technique really helps you transform negative thoughts into more useful, self-affirming thoughts that help you out, and they actively challenge your limiting beliefs, which can be difficult. It can be difficult for your brain once you start to challenge them, but you built the foundation. Now you can start to challenge them slowly but surely and continue to do that to build those new neural pathways. So you're going to establish replacement thoughts. So once you identify these thoughts and once you pattern interrupt, you establish a replacement thought for those thoughts. Almost the opposite, but it can also be, the word yet. Like, I can't do this. I can't do this yet. Very simple word, but it transforms your mindset and how you think about something. Like, I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not good at public speaking yet. Or I'm not good at public speaking, but I'm working on it. Then use visualization techniques. I love visualization. And then implement consistent repetition. It's like building a habit. So 5 through 8, again, establish replacement thoughts, use visualization techniques, and implement consistent repetition. And as a bonus, number 9, measure your progress. Always measure your progress. Are you starting to eliminate these thoughts? Because progress is good and you can celebrate that, and then you move on to the next one. I want to talk just a bit about visualization. I have other videos on that, but visualization is very powerful. Before important meetings or challenges that are coming up, vividly imagine the event unfolding positively. This almost undermines a limiting belief before you can even get to the negative thought. Visualization, again, so maybe you're going into a meeting and you have to speak in front of it 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Do it for days before. I love visualization. The research literally shows that mental rehearsal strengthens neural pathways almost as effectively as physical practice. There are numerous studies out there about it. I'm not going to bring them up now. I have brought them up in other mediums, whether writing or videos, but it's absolutely insane how just visualizing can change your neural pathways. So another thing to look into long-term is just daily visualization, even for 10 minutes, just like meditation. It's so awesome, for lack of a better term. And of course, consistency is a non-negotiable here. Neuroscience shows that repetition for at least 21 days is essential for strengthening new neural pathways, almost like forming a new habit. And the most effective way to rewire a belief, provide your brain with real evidence that the new belief is true. If you lack leadership skills, volunteer to lead a small project at work or even outside of work. Give your brain that tangible proof that contradicts the limiting belief. And hey, this is all definitely getting you outside of your comfort zone. But not only is that how you beat limiting beliefs and prove them wrong, it's how you grow as a person. We all want to grow, right? Be better. And throughout all this process, I highly recommend tracking your progress in a journal and celebrate all the wins that you get. The small wins, the big wins. They reinforce what you're doing as positive. They reinforce the new beliefs and really until they become natural and automatic. Plenty of research out there shows that rewiring isn't a one-time event, but an ongoing practice that requires consistent awareness and adjustment. Before we end this, though, I want to talk a little bit about something else that often gets missed when talking about limiting beliefs. Sure, I gave you some steps, so we're going to talk about a little bit more here, the Taser method. But I think one thing that's missed a lot, and that is very important, is uncovering your hidden, huge limiting beliefs. Those small wins we just talked about can be powerful, and you're getting to some limiting beliefs. But most people, I guess, are trying to celebrate victories over, I don't want to say the wrong enemy because it's still really good, but maybe the easy enemy, the one at the front lines, because the limiting beliefs that are causing the most damage are rarely the ones that you're aware of right now, the ones you're consciously aware of. The bigger ones, the ones that are affecting life goals, or preventing you from even starting that business or starting something that you just want to do so badly, but you never get going on, or you quit halfway through, they're operating behind the scenes. They were installed in you or during childhood when your brain was forming its most basic assumptions about how the world works. These beliefs are the invisible filters through how you see the world and how you see everything around you, how you see everything you do, how you see your day to day. They're deeply, deeply embedded in your mental operating system, feeling like facts, like absolute facts about reality rather than optional perspectives, which is why they're so damn hard to identify. Remember that time in 3rd grade when you raised your hand with a wrong answer and everyone laughed? Your developing brain might have created the belief that speaking up leads to humiliation as protection for you. That belief served you then, but now prevents you from sharing valuable ideas in meetings and growing at work because you're scared to share your opinion. It's freaking crazy that something that happened in 2nd or 3rd grade can affect you when you're in your 40s in a meeting at work, but it's the truth. So to uncover what's holding you back, maybe some of these deeper beliefs, try this exercise. Think about something that you've wanted for a while but haven't achieved yet. It could be a great relationship. It could be starting a business. It could be creating a website. It could be blogging online and putting yourself out there. It could be going for a promotion at work, but you can't get there because you can't speak up in meetings. Something big that you've been trying to do, but you haven't achieved yet for whatever reason. Maybe you start, but you quit halfway through, or you never even start because of whatever reason. And then complete this sentence and do it quickly. Don't really think about it. I can't have that because, and complete it fast, again, almost without thinking. Your instinctive response will reveal a limiting belief at work. You might have to dig a little bit below that response, but it's right there. These beliefs reveal themselves through life patterns. Do you repeatedly attract similar problematic relationships? Again, do you consistently abandon projects halfway? Are there projects that you just don't even start because you're never ready? You need a little more training. You need a little more education. You always need something else. These are not coincidences. They are limiting beliefs playing out in real time. I laugh a little bit because it's crazy how true it is. Like how when I'm uncovering my limiting beliefs, and hey, I still have them, but I've worked through some of them. It's crazy how things like that happened repeatedly in my life, and I never put it together until I started these exercises. And then it's like almost obvious that there's something there holding me back. And it's not just something in my everyday, or it is something in my everyday, but it's not something in my conscious mind. Everything that I tell myself, they're excuses, maybe lies about why I can't do something, but it's not ever getting to the actual hidden limiting belief. Because these beliefs, they reside in your subconscious mind. So accessing them requires like techniques like this. Anna Gorsha, she has some research that shows that slowing down to the theta brainwave state. So here's just a tip for you if you're trying to figure some of these out. It creates ideal conditions for subconscious access. This is where meditation lies. That's why meditation is so crucial. Even 10 minutes a day, it gets you down to that theta state. Gets your subconscious and conscious kind of working together as hard as it can be, especially starting out. Sometimes when I'm doing freaking meditation, it's like a civil war in there. So you can reach this state through guided meditations or binaural beats. Check out or theta healing resources. And for a guided exercise, you can Google that, YouTube that. I'm sure there's some apps with it as well that have the brain waves. So if you want to really start to think about some of this stuff and you want to get into a meditative state, throw on some theta brain waves and listen and start to think about some of these subconscious limiting beliefs. So backing up real quick, almost done here. I know this video ran long, but I think it's really important and really crucial to hear all of this. Getting a little more in depth in there. Once you've identified a limiting belief, deeply rooted, like we just talked about, or the one, just any that are even you're consciously aware of, challenge it using the Taser method. So the Taser method, tune in to identify the belief, acknowledge its impact on your life. And this is important. Like, how is this negatively impacting my life? So you actually see how bad it can impact your life and that you have to do something about it. 3, shift the negative thought to a positive one. 4, express your new affirmation. And then 5, repeat it with confidence. Taser. See what we did there? So for example, if you discover I'm not creative, I know this is kind of a low-hanging fruit or pretty high level one, but you discover that, like, acknowledge how it's affecting your life. So you discovered it. And then you seek experiences that contradict that belief and repeat that. Take a creative class or document moments of creative thinking, or start writing if you like writing, or start that blog if you like a blog. Just throw it out there on Medium or create a website. You can create a website in a freaking day now. And reframe your internal dialogue. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, how can I make this work? Or I can't do this yet, but I'm working on it. Yet is such a powerful mindset shift. These simple shifts can create cognitive dissonance that weakens your old neural pathways while forming new empowering ones. Here's the exciting truth. Your brain doesn't have an expiration date on growth. I know everyone thinks there is. Contrary to what you probably have heard, neuroplasticity continues throughout your entire lifetime. This means whether you're 25 or 65, you can start rewiring those neural pathways today. Hey, I did most of my growing after my party days, and I started parting ways. And that wasn't until my like mid 30s, which is crazy to think about. But small town Wisconsin, what do you say? What do you do? But I mean, there are stories out there of 70-year-olds going back to college to change careers and graduating and embarking on a new career in their 70s. A lady and the Black Panther was in her 80s when she decided to take up acting, and she started taking classes, and that was her first role in her 80s. Look, age doesn't matter. So get that limiting belief out of your brain right now. Successful people consistently challenge limiting beliefs and replace them with pathways supporting their dreams. You can now, no matter what age you are, no matter where you are in life. It's time to start changing those limiting beliefs. Remember this powerful formula. Thoughts shape neural pathways. Neural pathways drive actions. Actions create results. Your transformation begins by questioning your accepted truths. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope this helped. I hope defeating some limiting beliefs and laying that foundation to do that today, because I'm telling you, like, I want you all to be happy and growing and successful. And that's the only way to really do that, is to get those things out of your head and change those neural pathways. Listed. So I think this stuff is vitally important. And I think personal growth and success, it all drives happiness. And I want you all to be happy. I want to see more people out there smiling as they walk down the road, not heads down in their phones or too engulfed in their own negative thoughts about everything else going on in the world. I want you to be happy and smiling. I hope you have a great day. Appreciate you.